And I just think there's a lot of other movies that we can be saving our money for, or a lot of other movies that we should just go see again. Like, I would have much rather have seen Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse again instead of watching this movie. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the new Transformers movie that just came out. It is the 7th movie in the franchise and it is called Transformers Rise of the Beasts. 7 movies. Maybe 7 movies too many? More like 6 movies too many. But we will keep watching these movies and they will keep making these movies. There's nothing we can do about it. So let's buckle up and get into this movie review. This movie is, like I said before, the 7th movie in the franchise, and I really liked the first Transformers movie, and I didn't mind the second one. It was, like, not the best, but it wasn't horrible. The third one was boring. Don't remember the 5th. Actually, I never saw Bumblebee, which now that I'm recording this, I realize that a lot of people love Bumblebee. They loved that movie. They thought it was amazing. So I think I'll probably go back and watch Bumblebee just to see how good it actually is, because everybody seems to love Bumblebee. And then there's this one, and this one was something. So let's go over the plot real quick. It's a prequel sequel. So it is way before we get Sam Witwicky and Shia LaBeouf, and I think it happens right after Bumblebee. So that's the time frame of this movie. It follows this like gem thing, this rock, this infinity stone, if you will. It can help the alien creatures jump portals or jump through time and space to get back to their home planet. And Optimus Prime and the Autobots, they are obviously trying to get home. And anyway, there's this gem thing. They're trying to get it before the bad guys get it. Do they win? Do they lose? Who knows? You have to see the movie to find out. So my thoughts on this movie are, with no spoilers, I did not really like this movie. I thought that it was pretty boring. It was boring because it was like copy and paste of all the other Transformers movies. I think they tried to make it cool with Optimus Primal and like Air Razor and all these like animal Transformers, but it just kind of fell flat and it didn't do what it was supposed to be doing. I honestly just don't think you should waste your time or money seeing this movie. Maybe when it comes out on streaming you can watch it, but it's not very good. So I wouldn't spend the $10 plus to go see this movie at all. It's not a good movie. Without spoiling anything, why I don't like this movie is the script is absolutely atrocious. It's so bad. From the beginning, it is so bad. Like, there's just these little lines where, like, something happens to Bumblebee. Everybody sees what happens to Bumblebee, and then Optimus Prime goes, "This can't be." And then there's like silence. And then they're asking if Noah, who's the main human character, and Elena, who's the other protagonist, they ask if they want to go to this location. And they just flash to the main female lead and they go, "So are you in?" And she's just like, "Yeah." And that's it. Certain things happen to other people and it's just like, no. It's like they didn't think about the script at all. And I know that there's a writer's strike, so maybe it's the writer's strike. And I think the acting was so bad because the script was so bad. And if the script would have been better, then maybe the acting would have been better. But you're just taken out of the reality every time that they say a line because the line is so bad. Like, it was like a joke, basically. The fighting scenes are also not very good. They're kind of boring. They are just a bunch of metal robots fighting each other. That's it. Just a CGI mess on the screen. That was kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it's kind of like we've been there, done that, and how much different or cool can you make this? And then also in the trailers, they really put a lot of emphasis on the animals, and like we get this like King Kong, Optimus Primal, and this cool cheetah and this rhino and this like hawk eagle Razor is her name in the movie. They are like hardly in the movie at all, and I feel like maybe make them way bigger of a plot point. Like you're in the first hour before you see Razor, and then you're in the first hour and a half before you see Optimus Primal. So, yeah, it's like a little bit too much background. Maybe let's like kind of like get these animals in here. That's just kind of what I was thinking. I was like, wow, this is really drowning on and on and on. The CGI is good, but it wasn't like mind-blowing out of this world CGI. It was just kind of like what you think you'd be getting into watching a Transformers movie. So not good, not bad, just whatever. Let's talk about what I kind of did like. There is a lot of 90s music, and the music is actually really good in this film. They're like the most popular 90s music, as well as a lot of 90s rap, and the music was good. The music's always good in these Transformers movies, though. I don't feel like they ever fall flat on that. So again, I liked the background of the human characters. Noah Diaz is the main human character, along with Elena, who is the other human character. Noah has some struggles with his family, and it seems like his background is a lot more thought out in this movie, especially if you're gonna keep the same formula as there's just these big huge robots that can transform into cars and planes and animals and all that kind of stuff. The human aspect of it is not super important, so I like how they kind of changed that formula a little bit and gave more substance to the human characters. They have a very star-studded cast. The cast is actually really, really good. I'm shocked that they were able to get these many people into the lineup of this film, because it was not very good, and the Transformers movies have not been very good for like the past couple, 5 or 6 of them. They have Peter Dinklage is Scourge, Michelle Yeoh is Razor, Ron Perlman is Optimus Primal, Cristo Fernandez, who is Danny Rojas in Ted Lasso, which is one of my favorite TV shows. That's like, he's so amazing as Wheeljack. Like, I just, hearing his voice, I was like, oh, that's Danny Rojas! And he did great. And Pete Davidson is Mirage. I don't like Pete Davidson, and I don't like his voice, so I thought he was just really annoying. And at first I was like, wow, I really actually kind of like Mirage. I like him as a character. I think he's cool. And then he said one line and I was like, that is Pete Davidson. And then I couldn't unhear Pete Davidson for the rest of the movie. So it just kept taking me out. Every time he talked, I was like, that's Pete Davidson talking. Arcee, who's one of the other robots, is played by Liza Koshy, and I had no idea that that was Liza Koshy. If I would have known it was Liza Koshy, again, it would have kind of like taken me out of the movie every time that she spoke. And she did a really good job, and I didn't know that it was her. So I think that's like the best way to have a voiceover, is not to have everybody know that it's this star, because then it's just, that's all I could hear. So I want to go over just the spoilers from here on out. So if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to be spoiled, I would click off right now. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you are never planning on seeing this movie, or if you have seen this movie, continue watching. To get into the spoilers, the background that I liked is with Noah Diaz. His brother has sickle cell anemia or some sort of disease, and he's struggling and he needs money, and he finds Mirage, the car, and he's planning on stealing the car, and he's kind of fighting with himself like, I'm not a thief, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets roped into helping Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, all that kind of stuff. And the very first fight scene, that's where Bumblebee gets murdered. Because it's a sequel to a prequel, we know that Bumblebee's gonna be fine, so there's really a lack of actual anxiety or like feeling like there's something really bad that's going to happen, because we already know like Bumblebee's going to be alive in the 2000s when he meets Shia LaBeouf's character in the original. I hate it when they like kill a character, because we know that he's just gonna come back to life, so whatever, it doesn't really matter. And that is when Optimus Prime says the line like, this cannot be. And then it's just like nothing. And I'm like, a little bit more remorse maybe, a little bit something. So like, I'm not laughing at the fact that Bumblebee just died. Like, maybe just have a little bit better of a script so that I'm not out of the reality, I guess you could say. And then also, Optimus Primal is the stupidest name. And when they were like, it's your time now, Optimus Primal, I audibly laughed and I was like, this is so ridiculous. And Unicron is like the big bad guy, and Unicron, I just kept thinking of unicorns the entire time. Like, we could have been a little bit more creative. Like, Mirage, perfect name for him because he can duplicate himself. I guess all of the voices kind of took me out of the reality a little bit. Like, I was like, wait a second, that's Michelle Yeoh. Like, it was Michelle Yeoh just doing her normal voice. Pete Davidson just doing his normal voice. Peter Cullen, who was Optimus Prime, just sounded like Optimus Prime. I didn't see any or hear anything else other than that's Optimus Prime. Liza Koshy, I only heard RC. I didn't hear Liza at all. So, like, they did really well. And then Michelle Yeoh, Pete Davidson, and Cristo Fernandez, they were fine, but I just kept getting taken out of the reality of what was happening and who was playing who and all that kind of thing. So, I don't know. That really kind of bothered me. And then also, I really, really wish that they would have had more of the animal Transformers in there, because that's what they marketed to us, that it was just going to be like all these cool animals alongside the cars, and the animals were definitely more like background characters, and they weren't as important at all. So I'm gonna be completely transparent with you guys. I actually ended up walking out of this movie, and I only went in for about an hour and a half, and it's about a 2-hour long movie. So I didn't miss that much of the movie, but I did miss the entire ending of the film, and I heard that that's like the best part. So they're in Peru, and they were looking for the second half of the portal thing. And I just was so bored out of my mind, and I was like, wow, I really do not want to be spending my Thursday night watching this movie. I just can't do it. It is, oh, it's so boring, and it's not good, and I could be sleeping right now, or I could be watching a movie that I actually like. I leaned over to my husband, and I was like, can we leave? And he was like, yeah, let's go. And then we immediately left the theater. I have actually seen a couple of other people's reviews on this movie, and they say that this is the better of the Transformer movies. Like, the first one's really good, Bumblebee is the best, and then this one is like in the top 3. And I feel really bad because I actually just left because I didn't like it that much. So if you are somebody who's a huge fan of Transformers, you might like this movie. But if you're somebody like me who liked the first movie and then just all the other ones fell flat and just lost interest in the entire series, I don't think you're gonna like this movie at all. And I just don't recommend it at all. I think you should wait until it comes out on a streaming service that you may already have, so you don't have to pay for it. It's kind of unfortunate, but I also wasn't even planning on watching this movie because I thought that in my last video you may have seen, I thought that it was The Flash this week and Elemental this week, and it's not. It was Transformers. So I was like, oh, I don't want to see a bunch of robots just like running around and like beating each other up. So I already had a bad attitude for it. And I just think there's a lot of other movies that we can be saving our money for, or a lot of other movies that we should just go see again. Like, I would have much rather have seen Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse again instead of watching this movie. That is everything I have to say about this movie. If you liked this movie, I would love to know why you loved this movie, so please leave a nice comment down below. And if you didn't like this movie, then also let me know why you didn't like this movie, and we can have a cool dialogue going on in the comment section down below. But if you would like to see more about my channel or me, then go ahead and like and subscribe. And next week I will be reviewing Elemental, which is the new Pixar movie, and I'm really excited for that one. So you can even turn on the post notifications if you'd like to see that, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.